What it do, Portland Timbers fans? My name's Angel. My first official video of covering Portland Timbers, all Timbers information, trade rumors, match results, all pretty much anything that has to do with Portland Timbers. So pretty much, like I said, it's an introduction video. So I kind of want to, explain my reasoning for why I'm doing this. Obviously, reasoning is because I'm a fan. Just being a part of Timbers Army, it just it's an incredible experience. It's always been a fun moment for me going to the matches. So like I just really have gained like a super big interest into just anything the Portland Timbers have been doing recently. So I thought might as well just start making videos. Just for the fun of it. I'm not taking it to the point where I want to make this my full time job or anything like that. I'm just doing it because I truly enjoy just the game overall. Just enjoy the Portland Timbers game overall. So we're gonna talk about a couple of things. So I got my little, not little notebook, my little regular journal. So we're gonna talk about a couple things today. We're gonna talk about last season, how it ended, and talk about our potentially losing players and a player we recently acquired in a signing, and then what I would like to see this upcoming season for Portland Timbers. Whether it's a specific player, team overall, coach, and then we're gonna talk about. I think will probably be my favorite subject to talk about is how I kind of want to see these big European players come into MLS, and for the U.S. to kind of start taking the game of soccer a lot more serious, or football, depending on how you want to say it. Just taking it a little more serious so we can, kind of make a statement in the world that, the U.S. is here to compete with all these major leagues like Premier League, multiple Liga leagues, or even to compete in the World Cup from the men's standpoint. The men have never always competed at high levels compared to the women, which to each his own. The competition is different, but just putting it out there like that. So, introduce myself. So, my name is Angel. I just keep it that Angel. I'm gonna put my whole government out there. Uh, Recently, I just kind of been watching the Portland Timbers for at least 2 years now. So, I know there's a lot of hardcore, dedicated fans out there. So, my opinions might not be spot on compared to somebody that's been watching the team for the last 5 years. I kind of pretty good, much got a basic knowledge of what's happened in the last couple years. But like now, kind of want to just tag along and just stay on this train until the wheels fall off and see where we go. Like hopefully we have a big season this upcoming season. Hopefully we make not hopefully. I know we're gonna make the playoffs. It's just we definitely have a lot of things to fix, and that's kind of what I want to go over today. So let's talk about last season. Last season we finished ninth in the standings. I'm pretty sure a lot of us can agree that wasn't the way we wanted to end. So we ended up playing Vancouver. We got really blessed with that game for the specific reason that we weren't even supposed to have home field advantage. We were supposed to play in Vancouver, and it was gonna be a lot more. It was gonna be a harder game for us to win. We weren't the best on road games, and compared to home games, we were a lot better. We could keep up with any team. We've beaten the Galaxy at home. Can't remember if it beat LAFC. I don't even remember if we played LAFC at home. But everybody knows that we were just a lot better at home. So, like I said, we got blessed with that game for the specific fact that whoever owns that arena, or was it the owner that rented out the arena that specific day to a motocross sport, so they couldn't cancel that. So we ended up getting home field advantage when we shouldn't have had it. They come Vancouver, everybody's hyped, and I was at that game, and it was just like the breath was just sucked out of us. Like I don't know, it was just like I don't know. I've never seen us like lose that bad, where we lost 5-0 and 5-0 on an away game. I've seen it kind of happen. We saw it with St. Louis again when we played them in the tournament. They beat us, I believe, 4-1, and but it was like St. Louis was kind of St. Louis is going to be a really great team this season, in my opinion. But I'm gonna stick to Timbers talk. So we ended up losing 5-0, and then just on top of that, after the game, our main guy, Vander, our best player, goes and pretty much goes like on a rant, which is understandable. We all had a boss where we just didn't see eye to eye, and he made that known. And usually in the sports world, when you don't like your boss, you usually get traded. But MLS is a little different. There's so many teams he could technically get traded or transferred to. So I know he's been very keen on trying to get back to Brazil. He wants to play for one of the top leagues and teams in Brazil because he feels like he has an opportunity to play for the Brazilian national team with the way they're kind of looking. And if you're into the World Cup or seeing those national teams play, Brazil really hasn't been the greatest. Brazil isn't what they used to be compared to. Trying to get the numbers off the top of my head correctly. So I think it was 2018 or 2015. I don't know. I don't even want to. I'm not gonna assume any numbers. I just want to be straightforward with you guys. So we all know Brazil has been very dominant around since 2018 and under. They've always been a team that can compete for the World Cup. And they just haven't been looking so great. So he probably feels like my skills are probably good enough to get into that team right now. Do I technically believe, or do I specifically believe that he has the talent to play for the national team? I do not, in my personal opinion. I think Evander's really good in the MLS. The competition is a little more, let's say, not to, like I said, the Premier League or anything like that. I think if Evander was really on the level of those, top Brazilian players, we would be a lot more dominant. We would be a number one seed team. Evander would have more goals, more assists. So, I'm not trying to discredit what he's doing. He's a great player, but I just don't think he's good enough to play for the Brazilian national team. But he could potentially leave us and go play for a team in Brazil, which makes more sense. Probably wants to be home. The only positive takeaway from last season, in my personal opinion, was we won the Cascadia Cup. So that was a pretty good thing to do. And it was even more sweeter that we won in Seattle. So that was a perfect little cherry on top. But then literally following week, I believe, we lose 5-0. So yeah, we definitely need to make some switches. And so we'll see about that. And then we're going to talk about now potentially losing players. And like I said, Evander was one of those. So I won't go back on that. Next player is Mora, so Felipe Mora, and I see a lot of Timber fans saying that it's not as bad if we get rid of him for a transfer, get money for him, because he does have a lot of injuries, but he looked great last season. So why would we want to? I feel like why would we want to get rid of any of our top offensive players when offense was not our problem last year? Our biggest problem was defense. We could not stop teams from scoring, especially on away games. We couldn't stop a team who was the 8th seed from scoring 5 goals on us. And if you're letting the 8th seed score 5 goals, that's kind of a little ridiculous, especially at home. What we need to do is really step up and acquire defensive players, defensive schemes. And then the next person that I've heard in the rumors of wanting to leave or potentially leaving is Santiago Moreno. So he has been, I don't know if it's specifically him that's been looking for a new home, but that's possibly going to happen, which I'm not too mad about that. I think, and you guys are probably going to disagree with me. Some of you might agree. If you disagree, go ahead and leave a comment below. We can talk about it. But I believe Anthony, who is my favorite Timbers player, is the better option over Santiago. I think Santiago actually takes minutes from Anthony. I've noticed that we play Anthony a lot more at away games. And to be honest, I feel like Santiago comes off the bench a lot better. I think when he comes off the bench, around the 60th, 70th minute, he just has a better impact on the game. So if we keep him, what I'm hoping is Anthony starts more so these games for the rest of this, like most of the season. He takes that next step and leap into potentially being our main guy, especially if we're at the risk of losing 3 players, especially our two of our biggest offensive players, because we have Jonathan Rodriguez. So we're obviously going to have that offensive threat, but also on top of that, if Mora and Evander do leave, I could definitely see Jonathan Rodriguez taking even a bigger leap and scoring more goals or contributing to more assists. So it's definitely so many different scenarios that we can see happening, but we're not seeing the things that we want to see. We want to see defensive players acquired. We want to see, players take accountability on defense because our offense was not the problem. And I can say that 1,000 times. I've seen these guys score 4 goals in 25 minutes. Like, we are good on offense. So we'll see what happens with there. So let's talk about the one player we acquired who isn't a defensive player. And a lot of Timber fans are disappointed in this because it's like we're not fixing what we need. So our newly acquired player is Ariel. Ariel. I'm gonna say Ariel because he's from Costa Rica, so I'm pretty sure he pronounces Ariel. Lassiter. I can't pronounce that one. So pretty much he played for the Chicago Fire last year, and CF Montreal. So he played 7 games with Chicago. He started 5 of those games. He had 0 goals, 0 assists, and 7 shots attempted. Which 7 games, that's not horrible. Definitely could, doesn't pop out, and it's definitely not like you can't blame the guy 7 games, but only 5 started. So then when he went to CF Montreal, I think they had injured their main midfielder that they had, so they replaced him with Ariel at the end, and he started 20 games out of 20. He had 3 goals, 7 assists on 26 shots attempted. 12 of those shots were on target. So to me, that's a little better, especially the assists. The assists do look good in my personal opinion. And then most of your shot, he's pretty much almost 50%. I would say he's probably 47% on target for shots. And then when we talk about his career numbers are not the greatest. So he has been in the MLS for 10 years now. So in his 10 years, he has 12 goals on 199 shots. And I mean, I can't do the math on top of my head, but that's not the greatest. But he is a midfielder. He's obviously not, a striker or, somebody that's going to be always running with the ball. He has 15 assists. So if anything, he looked his best last year, and that's probably the reason why we signed him. He has more than half his assists in 1 year compared to 9 years. Or technically speaking, it'll be his 10th year this year. So he had more assists in his 9th year than he did in 8 years total. So, we're probably looking to see if we can kind of get the ball moving a lot more, which I think we're fine with that. But like I said, hopefully we get a defender. And so, like, that's pretty much on that. We haven't acquired any new players even to this right now. I'm making this video. So hopefully we see what we want and get what we want. And so now we're going to talk about a couple of things I would like to see for us. I would like to see my personal opinion, and like I said, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section. But I would love to see Anthony start. I would love to see Anthony take that next step in potentially being our second guy. I've been to, I would say, most of our home games, and I've always gone early because I sit in the Army. And you would think like Evander and Anthony, and I'm not. Who knows? They probably do have a close relationship, so I shouldn't say that too much. But it doesn't seem like they connect on a high level, especially both being from Brazil. So, but I would like to see that combination work a lot better. I would like to see Anthony be our second best player. Like it's Felipe Mora's, older guy, injuries. Jonathan Rodriguez left America, which is the, biggest club in Mexico, and pretty much came to the MLS to kind of just not have to play as fast or as serious. But I know on that, I think the MLS is a lot better than the league in Mexico. I mean, the tournament said it last year. We're dang near beating every team. Every MLS team almost beat every Mexico team. And it just shows that the competition is getting better on our end. The MLS is getting better. And, I kind of dive into that. I already talked about our defense. So, I kind of want to just talk about what I would like to see from the MLS as a whole and what I would like to see from the U.S. as a country that's trying to produce better soccer players and up the competition for us. Like, who wouldn't want to see the men's team compete in the World Cup finals? We got the World Cup coming up next year, and that would be a dream come true for pretty much every fan that's for America. You know, like America. That's who isn't proud to be from this country. Like, and I'm not gonna talk too much about that. That's needed, but so let's talk about it. So we potentially have a couple of big time European players coming over, and I'm going to talk about two of them. We potentially have Cogba, which that's a little slim, but the opportunity is there. He is going to be off his suspension in the next couple of months. He was supposed to be suspended for 4 years, reduced to 18 months, I believe. So he could potentially be making his way to MLS because a lot of organizations in Europe don't feel like he has the skills to compete at a high level anymore. So that would be pretty cool to see. And then I'll say something, but I'll say it with both players because it goes along together. And then the second player is Kevin De Bruyne, and that would be amazing. Like that guy is something. I love that. He's a good player. And so, I don't want to say too much about Kevin or Pogba. We know their skills. We know what they can do. We know their impact on the game. But I would like to definitely say this. I would hate to see both of those players go to either Inter Miami, LAFC, or LA Galaxy. I think for the MLS to take that next step into making the league a more respectable league and to be able to compete with those bigger leagues in Europe, we need to start balancing things out and stop letting every top player go to LA. And I get it, like, who wants to go from England and then they go to I love Portland, but I gotta say, like, who wants to go to Seattle or Portland? You're already dealing with rain and cloudy weather in England. Now you come into another cloudy, rainy weather situation as well in Seattle and in Portland. I get it, LA, sunny, Miami, sunny. You got Messi, you got Luis Suarez, you got these big players, but I would, if I was the league, talk to the owners, try to convince the owners, like, hey, let's give these guys a percentage of their ownership. Let's give these guys a percentage of their jersey sales, and then they could potentially sign with you guys. Imagine we got Pogba or we got Kevin De Bruyne in Portland. That would be like one of the biggest, not one, if it would be the biggest thing to happen for us. And then with their skill levels, take us to a higher level and potentially be MLS champs. So it's a lot of wishful thinking. But kind of gets me into the topic of if the MLS really wants to be a respectable league and wants to compete with these other leagues, we need to start acquiring better players. And if sacrificing more money is the issue, then I don't know, figure a way out to do it. It's a business, and businesses only get better when the product gets better. And so hopefully they look at it that way. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the product of U.S. players. And I think like the biggest disappointment for me at least is that our men's national team players, and I get it, it's all about money and it's all about the right situation. But we don't have any of our top players playing for any MLS teams. And I don't know, I just think that's just like, it's kind of crazy, but at the same time it makes sense. These players are going to compete at a higher level when they're competing with players that are better than them. And let's be honest, most of those players are better. Most of those European players are better than Team USA players, except for Pulisic. We know he is that guy. He is the top player for US. So, but it would be nice to see those players play for MLS teams. It would be nice to have those guys spread it out and make the league better. But that's a wishful thinking. It's obviously all about money. It's all about where you can get better. And, a lot of these guys, like, who wouldn't want to live in Italy compared to, most places in the U.S. So it's understandable, but that's why I kind of want to get onto the next subject of the U.S. needs to start copying the European formula. A lot of these European countries, they really focus on making sure that their players are getting the best opportunities at the lowest possible cost. You know, and history repeats itself. All these top players from Brazil, Portugal, Spain, England, uh, Germany. You can name multiple places. Colombia. These players are coming from countries that do not have the financial stability to charge every kid tens of thousands of dollars to be in their clubs. You know, in Brazil, like, look at Ronaldinho, look at Ronaldo, look at Neymar, look at David Luiz, look at Vinny, Rodrigo, Endrick, look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Um, like in Spain, Lamine Yamal, like all these guys, they're top players because these teams invested into them at a young age. And I know we have a smaller team, we have a academy team, but are we truly investing into their future, or are we just making a money grab for these young guys? You know, I don't want to speak on the young guys because at the end of the day, they are kids, and so I would never say anything negative about any child that's trying to live their dream out. But I will talk about the corporations, and it's like, I don't know, like, do we really have the best coaches to teach these kids, or are we just charging these kids a lot of money and having a high school coach teach them? I don't know. I would like to definitely see our product get better as a country in a whole. I would like to see a lot of these young men compete at the highest level, and even if it's not competing in the MLS, just making sure that they get developed into better players and just playing for Team USA just in general. Like, I would love to see Team USA and the MLS be on top of the world in the next 20 years. You gotta be realistic. Like, a lot of these kids are still growing up. We still haven't taken those steps to make that development yet. But, maybe in the next 5 years, we finally get our stuff together and start investing into these young men and young women as well. And truly make, soccer a big time sport in the US. And it's kind of hard to compete when you got the NBA, you got the NFL. I won't say hockey. I think soccer is definitely a lot bigger in the U.S., but that's just my personal opinion. But I'm pretty much just trying to get to the point where it's not our main focus sport. So it's like, I feel like players or people don't give it as much attention, so the revenue's not there, and that's understandable. But yeah, I kind of went on a little rant about that. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I kind of want to just let you know. So pretty much, I'm gonna just be doing so for throughout the season I will do after match reviews. Anytime there's a trade signing, I keep saying trade. I keep I'm so used to like the NBA and NFL platform. But pretty much if there's any transfers, any rumors, any kind of like more serious things that happen in the club. I'm not gonna talk about a player having a disagreement with the coach. That's kind of just doing too much, at least in my opinion. But if it's something serious, then I'll talk about it after match reviews. I'll be doing that every Sunday, posting those videos on Mondays, and then yeah, it's pretty much the basic stuff. So for my next episode, what I want to do is talk about our season and our scheduled matchups, and then I'm kind of gonna pick at least, I would say, 10 matches where I feel like are gonna be big matches for us to make a statement. We definitely have our first matchup against Vancouver, and I would love to see us, kind of just redeem ourselves. Obviously last season's end, you can't take that back, but just get to a great start and just beat those guys, and especially because it's the first matchup of the Cascadia Cup. And then I know we have a Chara bobblehead night in, I believe, August, but don't quote me. That'll be for the next video. I'll definitely include that information as well. There's gonna be a lot of great games for us this year, and we're definitely gonna be we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary of us winning the MLS Cup. So that'll be sweet. Win the MLS Cup 10 years after we originally did. So uh, I'll get you guys more information on that. I want to say I appreciate you for taking the time to listen to the video. If you guys have any questions or comments about anything I have said today, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. And yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for tagging along on this little journey that I'm pursuing. And I'll see you guys in the next video.